To Sandy Bernstein's Career Harry Kari Part 2. Who was here for Part 1? Okay. Well, I guess that means I can't tell the same jokes. But that's okay. Actually, I was going to sing this year, but it didn't quite work out. Now, I downloaded the Dolly Parton song on iTunes, and I even rented the Miley Cyrus costume. But apparently HR thought my plan to perform twerking 9 to 5 was ill-advised. Go figure. So anyway, instead I'm going to do stand-up again, which is fine, because as Brianna said, I've been doing it a lot in the past year. But, you know, I still get nervous before I go up on stage. So I developed a little pre-game ritual to help me with my nerves. Although today I was unable to do it. Because while the performers were sitting in the back there, and about a half an hour before the show, Brianna started setting up a row of empty chairs behind us. And I said, what are those for? And she said, oh, they're for Javier and members of the executive committee if they should come in later and need to leave early. And I was like, oh, really? Well, that's great. So much for my plan to sip Kari out of my purse. That went right out the window. I knew I should have smoked crack before leaving the office. Makes my throat dry. Well, just then, some people in the row in front of me turned around and gave me the evil eye. And I said, what are you guys looking at? Hey, I'm just taking higher ed to the next level. Minutes later, I was in the ladies' room in the restroom stall, and I heard a couple of them talking. I heard one say to the other, well, she's always making jokes about smoking crack. And you know she is from Baltimore. Here we go again. I nearly dropped my pipe. Is not like The Wire. I don't know how many times I have to tell people that. I would like to think that it is more like Homicide, like what you see. I think that's a far more accurate representation of my hometown, hon. Okay, I'm a little sensitive about things these days, especially things having to do with my age. Last week I was in the Giant and I got really ticked off. You know how they print those receipts for you, those coupons for you at the cash register based on your bonus card purchases? Well, you're never going to believe the coupon that I got. You want to hear what it was for? It was for Depends. Not poise pads. Depends. Now, do they know something that I don't? Because it's not like I've been buying Ensure or Polygrip or Milk of Magnesia. So where did the adult diapers come from? Okay, Giant, if you want to print me out a coupon that I absolutely cannot use, at least let it be for, I don't know, tampons? But you know something? I am an editor, so I do still have to worry about missing periods. That was a groaner. Yeah, you shouldn't react to that. You're only encouraging me. Okay, well, let me elevate the conversation from the female reproductive system and go back to incontinence for a moment. I figured out the whole Depends thing, okay? I need to stop shopping at the Giant in Leisure World. So anyway, I mentioned that I am an editor, and as such I face deadlines all the time, but I'm usually pretty even-keeled about it. Just this morning, one of my colleagues asked me, Sandy, how do you keep your calm and cool under the face of such crushing deadline pressure? And I said, well, I pace myself. Well, just then, my boss, Cynthia Friedman, popped her head in my office, and she said, you know, I wish you'd pick up a pace a little bit. You still owe me copy for that diversity poster for Men's Equality Day. I should have had that 4 hours ago. So, not 2 minutes after she left, I swear, this must have been fate, I got an email from one of those career-oriented blogs that I subscribe to, and the subject line was 7 keys to productivity. And I thought, clearly, I could stand to be more productive. So I dropped everything I was doing and I opened it right up. Do you want to know what the first tip was? Don't be distracted by email. Well, the pace really has picked up, especially in marketing. Our staff is growing very quickly. So quickly, in fact, that our admin, Cynthia Johnson-Holland, has taken to publishing the org chart on Snapchat. Now that gives us just enough time to open it, gasp, giggle, or groan, and then it's gone. But you know, that's okay, because by then, it's out of date anyway. And you thought Snapchat was just for inappropriate selfies. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. So, anyway, this past Tuesday, I was late for work. That never happens. And it was because my badge fell between the console and the driver's seat of my car. And when I tried to put the seat back to get it out, the lanyard got all tangled up in the mechanism, and I had to have Brandon from security come out and help me fish it out. And it took us about 20 minutes. So he finally said to me, you know, they make covers for that. Why don't you get one? And I said, why would I want to do that? I've got more money saved in there than I do in my TIAA CREP 403B retirement plan. And saving for retirement is very important to me, given my lucrative state salary. Okay, so now we have a new mascot, the UMUC Nighthawks. Let's hear it for the Nighthawks, everyone. Okay, well, no disrespect to the Nighthawks, but I thought it might be nice if faculty and staff had their own internal-facing mascot. Now, I know what you're thinking. How am I ever going to get a consensus? How am I going to get people on board? How am I going to stop people from changing their minds back and forth? Well, I found a mascot that I think we can all get behind. Meet our new internal-facing mascot, Waffy the Waffle. Isn't he something? Now, I know exactly what I need to do to make this happen. I need to identify the stakeholders, get the right people in the room, and then find someone with the bandwidth to take ownership of the project. Oh, this is UMUC, that'll never happen. Sorry, Waffy. Okay, look, I was just trying to be proactive, but, you know, sometimes that has gotten me into trouble in the past. Did any of you guys hear about the refrigerator signage incident from a few months back? Yeah, it was kind of hushed up. Well, items were disappearing from the marketing break room, and signs went up asking people not to take what wasn't theirs. And Mary Ann Donahue, our Vice President of Marketing, objected to the tone and the appearance of the posters. And she wanted something humorous. And I heard humorous, and I was like, well, that's got my name written all over it. Never mind that Phil was assigned to it. So I took the initiative, and I came up with something that I thought was extremely clever. Items in the refrigerators are property of the marketing department. Ingestion of these products by unauthorized personnel could prove harmful or fatal if swallowed. Well, I'm glad y'all like it because apparently not very many people did at the time. And within about 10 minutes of me putting up the signs, an email tornado touched down. And I know this because the thread was forwarded to me by my boss, Cynthia Friedman, who had it forwarded to her from her boss, Kathy Leaning, who had it forwarded to her from her boss, Mary Ann Donahue. And did I mention that John Petroff and Joe Adams were copied on it? And about 6 or 7 other people. So I want your opinion on this. I actually printed it out and I want to read you some of it. It started out reasonably enough. It said, Mary Ann, I don't think the new signs on the refrigerators are what you had in mind. I doubt they were approved. Thoughts? Then others saw fit to join in. The signs are not very attractive and they don't make sense. To say ingested and swallowed in the same sentence is redundant. Okay, they got me. I should know better. I am an editor. They're not funny. They're inappropriate. Who's responsible? Well, they figured out who was responsible, and things got worse. People just got mean-spirited, I think. Sandy Bernstein did not follow process. Somebody needs to have a talk with Sandy Bernstein. Sandy Bernstein is out of control. Sandy Bernstein has gone off the deep end. Now, I don't think that was very collegial, but here's the one that did me in. Sandy Bernstein is posting death threats on the refrigerator. Now, I don't know if you're aware of this, but the university takes death threats very seriously. A specific protocol has been mandated. I was promptly escorted out of the building by security, placed on administrative leave, and then the Response Emergency Assessment Crisis Team sprung into action. Because you all know how we like to react at UMUC. So I was told I had to take the MMPI, and I was like, what's that? So I Googled it. It's the Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory. But the funny thing was, when the page loaded, it didn't load properly, and I got this message across the screen that said, "We're sorry, this page is having some issues." Really? So anyway, it turned out to be 338 true-false questions, which were in turn analyzed by a clinical psychologist who, in conjunction with the Response Emergency Assessment Crisis Team, determined that I was not a threat to the university or to myself. So I was allowed to return to work, but on a provisional basis. Yes, folks, I am on probation, and you know what that means. Action plan! So let me share some of this with you, but just the high-level stuff. Moving forward, we ask that Sandy, number 1, exercise better judgment and conduct herself in a manner more appropriate to the workplace. Number 2, continue meeting weekly with a state-appointed behavioral coach. Number 3, this one is very important. Stay on your medication. Now that's important because of number 4. Refrain from making up outrageous stories and embellishing the truth. Now, number 3, the medications are supposed to help with that, but you may have gathered that I might have skipped a few doses here and there. As a matter of fact, I am late on those. Oh, you know what else I'm late on? I still owe Cynthia that copy for the Men's Equality Day poster for diversity initiatives. Well, I better get busy with that. But in the meantime, I'm Sandy Bernstein, and if you want to see my upcoming performances, friend me on Facebook. Later this month, I should have a website, sandybernsteincomedy.com. Thank you all very much.